It's Vegan Freak Radio number 103 for the 13th of December, 2008.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hello, everyone. It's Jenna.
And Bob, we're back again for another edition of Vegan Freak Radio, coming to you from the freezing tundra of northern New York, where it is bright and sunny, yet freezing cold.
Yes, well, bright and sunny usually means freezing cold.
In the winter, it does. Yes. Does anyone know any ways to disable snowmobiles? Because if you know any way to do it, let me know. I can't stand them. They're driving me insane. They're going by on our sidewalks.
Well, so you probably hear one or two or three during the show.
I'm sure you will. And the dogs may in fact go apeshit as we go. Anyway, on today's show, we have an interview with Claire Askew, who has recently written a book called Generation V, The Complete Guide to Going, Being, and Staying Vegan as a Teenager, which is kind of like a Vegan Freak, but for the wee ones.
The wee ones. For teenagers.
I know.
Because I think as we've said before, we didn't go vegan until we were adults, so people ask us all the time, for advice for teenagers, and we're like, I don't know. So, Claire is a teenager, and so therefore she wrote a book for teenagers.
It's an excellent book, sorry. I was going to say two different things at once, and it all came out as blah.
Right.
It's an excellent book, and we will talk about that a little later on in the show. So that's that. A couple other things we're going to do quickly. What else?
I don't know. We're going to talk about an article. We're going to talk about some things we had mentioned on the last show, a question that we had posed to our listeners, and our listeners responded.
Cool. So we got some voicemails, emails.
Voicemails, yep.
That's what we're looking at.
All right.
So I guess we'll begin by talking about this kind of wave of pamphlets that's washing over the abolitionist vegan community, right? There are like three different pamphlets going on out there, right? The Boston Vegan Association recently produced an abolition vegan advocacy pamphlet they have as a PDF. Gary Francione produced a pamphlet that is available as a PDF. Joe and Vincent from our forums produced a pamphlet that's available as a PDF. We will link to all these PDFs in our show notes, and you can go and see which one you like best, print them, give them away, try to go out and proselytize and being an annoying vegan. You can go and try to get people to be vegan. No, but these are actually all very good pamphlets in my opinion. And you can look at them and see which one kind of suits you the best. Or you could print up all of them and give them all out in various ways or another.
Mm-hmm. So what do the pamphlets talk about? Are they all like trying to convince people to go vegan? Is that what?
Yeah. I mean, most of them take an abolitionist perspective. So they get away from this kind of welfarist crap about happy meat and cage-free eggs and speak directly about abolitionist vegan education, right? I mean, that's what these are all about when it comes down to it. Excellent. So these are good pamphlets if you want to actually go leaflet somewhere, or you want to go hand things out, or you want to have something on hand to give to people around you who have questions.
Yep,
these are all very good.
That's always handy.
These are all very good for that, and they're excellent. But the Boston Vegan Association asked us to say that they had recently produced an abolitionist vegan advocacy pamphlet for its outreach work, and in order to share the high-quality tool with others at an affordable rate, they went back to press to print up thousands more for use by you or your group. Bulk printing has driven down the cost of providing these pamphlets to only 20 cents each for requests of 100 or more, including shipping anywhere in North America. For example, 100 pamphlets cost only $20 delivered, which is about as cheap as it gets. Quantities lower than 100 are also available. To learn more or to place an order, email Eric Prescott at eric@bostonvegan.org. So you can actually get printouts from the Boston Vegan Society, which Vegan Association, which has a very high quality pamphlet that you, if you don't want to go to the trouble of printing your own, they can sell you printouts. In addition to that, we should also talk about how Eric is also looking for vegans for a documentary project he's working on, and the project is called I'm Vegan. He's going to be traveling around the United States between late March and mid-May with possible side trips into Vancouver and Toronto. And he wants to interview as many vegans as he can with an emphasis on diversity. So I don't know what that means. That could mean, well, it could mean it in the broadest sense of the word, right?
Sure.
So, anyway, for details how to get involved and to sign up for email updates, visit vegandocumentary.com. So a couple quick announcements there.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you have questions, I will link to all this crap in our show notes and or the email we send out to announce the show.
Okay.
So you can find links at our website, veganfreakradio.com.
Okay.
Am I continuing?
Yes.
The other day, I was on the site. Well, it doesn't matter where I was, but I came across this article. I was out surfing for porn. No, I'm only kidding. I think I was on Reddit. And this article is from an online, what do you call it? A site, a website. What? One of those things, those newfangled things. It's a, on the computer. Anyway, yeah. A site called Planet Save. And at this newfangled site called Planet Save, it's full of those kinds of articles that drive me absolutely insane. Like, how to reduce your carbon footprint. Look, a good thing to do, no doubt, but we can have the environmentalist rant another time. Because until we change the system that produces the choices for us, ultimately these little things are just tinkering. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay. But this article is called, "In a Poor Economy, PETA Buying Stock in Meat-Heavy Restaurants." And the article says, taking advantage of the shriveling stock market, PETA has been purchasing more and more shares in meaty companies, including popular chain establishments like Domino's Pizza, California Pizza Kitchen, and Sonic's. The surge in stock purchases comes shortly after PETA's call for donations, not only to them, but to other animal rights organizations also hurting in the economy. PETA has bought stock in meat companies for years. They already had a large holding in Tyson Foods, one of the most notorious animal abusers in the meat industry, and recently purchased even more. But what will PETA do once they own enough shares in these companies to be a deciding voice? Would we find vegan cheese options at Domino's? Would they eliminate meat altogether from the menus and perhaps risk running the chains out of business? Or perhaps they'd make the age-old rumors come true by changing pepperoni and sausage to mostly soy or wheat protein. PETA first began engaging in shareholder activism in 2003 when they purchased 240 shares in Tyson Foods, enough to allow the organization to speak at shareholder meetings. The industry has watched with a cautious eye ever since. Factory farming is among the most environmentally disastrous industries, topping even the transportation industry in its impact on global warming. While PETA pushes for animal rights, their actions also promote a healthier environment. Our campaign has already paid dividends for animals, so we're forging ahead with it at any price, said PETA Vice President Bruce Friedrich. During hard economic times, the most vulnerable members of society, including animals, still need protection from exploitation and abuse. So I thought this was an interesting article, right? I know some of you out there are like, oh, this is great. Like PETA's buying stock in meat companies.
Which means they're profiting off the suffering of animals.
Well, if they're paid dividends on those stocks, yes, they are profiting from animal exploitation. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I'm getting at here is like, why waste their time? I mean, I understand the argument for it, but to me, it's like a waste of time. Imagine the millions or thousands or however many dollars they're spending on this. They could spend on vegan outreach and education instead of buying stock in fucking Domino's and Tyson and all these other companies. It to me is profiting from animal exploitation.
Right. It is. And okay, unless you're going to buy a controlling share of these companies, what good does it do? So you can speak at the shareholder meeting. So can every other person who has as much stock as you. And it's not going to do anything. It's all very big kind of welfarist measure. So even if you do have a controlling share of these companies and you decide to shut down one of them, so, what good does shutting down a fast food corporation do? It doesn't do anything because you're not changing the fundamental system. You're not going back, to changing people's ideas.
That's right.
About why people should go vegan in the first place. That's the only way that you're going to get, if you get enough people to go vegan, well, then we won't need these restaurants, or the restaurants will change, to serve vegan food for everyone.
It is absolutely, it again is one of these nonsensical, hypocritical positions that PETA is always being, engaged in. And I hate to give them any attention because this is exactly what they want. However, I think this is so stunningly stupid, I have to say so. I really do think this is absolutely stupid. And anyone who gives money to this organization is idiotic. I can't understand. If you know these things about PETA and you still give them money, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Your money is going towards buying stock dividends in Domino's Pizza. And, okay, Domino's Pizza aside, Tyson. Yeah. Tyson! This is a company that kills animals for profit.
Not just a little company, a humongous company.
But let's remember, the primary point of any company, right? Mm-hmm. Any CEO of any corporation, if they tell you that their job is anything except delivering value to shareholders, they should be fired, because that's exactly what their job is as CEO, is to deliver value to shareholders. Most of the shareholders of Tyson are interested in having that value delivered. Tyson is a company that kills animals. They want to kill animals more efficiently. PETA does not have a controlling interest in Tyson, right? They can't completely change Tyson.
No.
So they are, by being paid dividend, by owning the stock, they're making profit from the death of animals. What
Yes.
the?
Yeah. Not
Do you know-
not the business that PETA, an animal rights, supposedly animal rights organization, should be in.
This is what I think. Not vegan.
Not vegan.
Oh my god, that is totally not vegan.
That's what I think.
Not at all. And if you know, like you said, the people who are paying, how do you feel about your money going to these organizations to, you know, support the suffering of animals? It's ridiculous.
Okay, so the argument, the flip side of the argument is that this allows PETA to have a voice in a shareholder meeting, so they can get in. If you look at it from a welfareist perspective, I can understand it, because what they can say is, well, PETA can get into the meeting and demand better conditions for the animals that are dying.
Right.
But they're still being killed.
Exactly. They're
So-
still being exploited, and they're still going to suffer.
Right. They're still being exploited for money, right?
Yeah,
They're being
exactly.
exploited for profit.
Yeah.
So, again, another nonsensical moment in the animal rights movement. And there are many of them. Many, 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 many.
So many.
Ay, ay, ay.
But that's why you have to go download those abolitionist pamphlets and get more people to go vegan.
This is the whole reason why you got to do your own activism, too. I mean, the organizations that are out there, I think, honestly, you just have to do enough reading in sociology to realize that once something becomes institutionalized, it operates only to keep the institution and bureaucracy running. Almost every other concern falls by the wayside. You can see this happen in every major institutionalized organization. The logic becomes such that they have to support the organization itself staying alive. And so much effort goes into that the original mission, it becomes shriveled and withered on the vine. Nothing, it just becomes lost. So,
Yes. Indeed.
all right.
All right. Oh, you're supposed to say that you're a maverick.
Oh, I'm a maverick.
There you go.
You're right.
A listener request.
I'm a maverick.
You are a maverick.
I am a maverick. You say it better.
Maverick.
I'm a maverick.
Yeah.
We are
She's a
mavericks.
maverick who gets television coverage while standing in front of turkeys being slaughtered.
Yeah.
Eat me.
So,
So
are we moving on?
I believe so.
Let's move on.
Okay. Why don't we talk about last time we did a show, we had asked for listeners to talk about the kinds of things that they tell children. When children ask, why aren't you eating the turkey at the table on Thanksgiving?
Because it was murdered.
Why aren't you eating meat? And since we're not around children all that often at the moment,
Thank God. I'm just kidding.
we didn't have the best advice because
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what I'd say until I was in that position. So we had a couple people write in and people call in with voicemails for some advice, people who are around children a lot. Let's see. A lot of people had some very similar advice. We did get one email from someone named Katie, and she says, I'm a primary teacher in the UK, and I thought I'd respond to your question about how you explain veganism to young children. Firstly, being a teacher means that you have to be really careful what you say to children
Oh, I
because
can
parents
imagine.
will complain about anything. Yes, same is true in this country.
Same is true even at the college level.
Oh, yeah. For example, I have one small nail piercing and my ears pierced once, and yet one parent complained to the school about all my piercings. When my pupils ask me why I don't eat meat, I usually say because I love animals. It's an answer they can understand, and it keeps the conversation quite short. If they ask for a further explanation, I reply, I don't agree with animals being killed. If they try to question me about eggs and dairy, I normally say something like, I think chickens/cows aren't treated very well, and then I tell them to ask their parents for more information. That way I can't get into any trouble. Okay, so I hope that helps, bitch, says Katie. Okay, and other people had very similar. We got one email from Katrina, who says that she has 2 stepkids who aren't vegan, but they slowly explain and then they show them the things that are in their fridge and offer them soy milk and everything so they can see the alternatives. And then we got a nice long one from the name that I cannot pronounce ever, from Flog and Fiona. on our forums.
Temcha?
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 I think she said it once for us. But
I probably have it wrong.
I don't want to butcher it, so
I
Flogging
probably just
Fiona it
did.
is.
There you go. It's easier.
And who says that she babysits a lot, and she tries to keep things. She says, the why question I tend to answer with, because I think animals aren't property and shouldn't be treated as such, adjusted for age if needed, which utterly lacks graphic imagery and, at least during that short exchange, keeps it more in a philosophical sphere and a few steps removed from any practical implementation. So even with questions, why no milk, it's possible to avoid mentioning anything particularly graphic. I usually shortly and calmly explain the basics of how and why cows make milk, how we humans have messed with it for our own desires, and how I think this is not okay.
Good answers.
Yeah. So let's hear some. We got some voicemails on the subject as well.
Okay.
Let's play those.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. My name's Alicia. I'm from New Jersey. I've been vegan for just over 12 years and vegetarian for, it'll be 21 years next month. My husband's vegan, too. I wouldn't be married to a non-vegan. And about your question about what do you say to somebody who asks why you're vegan, especially if it's at the dinner table, I would tell them why I was vegan. What I usually say is something to the effect of, well, I won't go into detail, but basically I'm vegan because I don't believe in exploiting animals for any reason, and of course you know that that animal had to suffer and die to be on your plate. I mean, if they ask the question, they're opening the floodgates. It's their fault, not mine. And I never, ever bring the subject of veganism or animal rights in general unless somebody else asks me about it first. Of course, I wear my pins and buttons to make people ask questions, but, you know, it's their fault if they want to open the floodgates. As far as a kid asking a question, what I say in response kind of depends on the age of the kid and how close I am to the kid's parents and if I really care what the kid's parents think of me in the end. So if it's a young kid, I'll say, well, I don't eat meat because it comes from animals and an animal has to die to make meat, so I don't eat it. But if you need to ask anything further, you should probably ask your parents. And I might even tell the parent that the kid asked me and what my response was. Or I might not. If it's an older kid, I'll tell them a little bit more about it and, you know, why it's really wrong, even though I don't know if I would actually say that it was wrong or if I would kind of wimp out a little bit and say that I believe that it's wrong. But I try to end up making the kid believe it was wrong, too, even if I didn't use those actual words. But I always let the person, the other person ask first, and I never, ever shy away from it. I will tell them whether I sort of say it in relatively nice terms or if I let them have it all, you know. I mean, it's all about the animals. It's not about what the other person thinks of me in the end. It's all for the animals, so.
The voicemail got cut off, but. Well, I think it's true that it's good to let the other people bring it up, you know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
and that's usually the way it goes with us. I usually don't bring it up unless it comes up somehow. Somebody asks me about it or whatever. But I do think you need to tailor. You mentioned some of this. Tailor the message to the audience. You don't want to come off as being, completely graphic about it necessarily. If that would turn someone off, you know. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's something you got to play by ear. I think it depends on the situation, on the person. I mean, there are certainly times that people have asked me things, and I think she raises a point. When someone asks you, they're kind of asking you, and they're opening the gate to that. And I think that's perfectly fine thing to say, and a perfectly fine way to approach it.
I agree.
However, if someone asks me while we're eating, and we talk about this in our book, but if someone asks me while we're eating, I generally avoid getting too far into it while we're eating. I will generally, I don't lie. I don't beat around the bush. I say what I think, but I kind of leave it there, and kind of let it simmer in a sense, or let this. I plant the seed and hope that it will grow. And I just don't think the dinner table is the place to do a lot of explicit activism for a lot of reasons. And the reason I think that is because I think it engenders a lot more negativity towards you and towards the idea while people are eating meat products than anything else. So I generally like to wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, people get a lot more defensive if they're sitting there with a piece of meat on their plate. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
exactly.
So and I think people see that on their plate, and then it engenders that kind of frustration in a sense. And I prefer, I don't lie. If they keep pushing it, sure, I'll go there. But in general, I try to keep it broad and relatively straightforward and relatively ungraphic at first. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that you don't want to, at the same time, we don't necessarily care what the other people think of you, but at the same time, you don't want to shut off turning the wheels in their head.
Sure.
So
sure.
you have to play a fine line, and I think Alicia mentioned that she plays it by ear, and I think that's really good advice as to where the situation is going, and in some situations you can continue the conversation later, and keep it, little by little people may ask you other questions or different questions, so that's good.
But the thing, it does get more complicated with kids because you do not want to be accused of proselytizing people's children, and I actually think it's not a good thing to do that. But on the other hand, I don't think it's good to lie to kids either. So I find it very complicated.
It is, and a lot of some of these emails, and Alicia mentioned, go talk to your parents about it.
Yeah,
kind of push it on them if they have more questions. Yeah, just doing the very brief explanation.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think there's any reason to lie to children, but on the other hand, I think you need to be careful that you don't offend their parents in that situation, but you still get across at least some nugget of something there to get the kid to realize what's going on.
Yep. All right, next one.
Hi, Vegan Freaks. This is Carl. Calling for my second time. Just listened to the latest podcast, and interesting and entertaining as usual. Just wanted to respond to two of your listeners. One being the email that you read about the person who said there's no ethical reason to lie, and I would pose the question to them: would they risk the lives of hundreds or thousands of slaves working on the Underground Railroad by either being compelled to tell the truth or simply not saying anything at all? Oh, good job. Gracie and I are sitting down eating breakfast right now, and which was the second part, which, yes, yes, you did. And the young woman who inquired about how to speak to her nieces and nephews about reasons for being vegan. Yes, we can watch Diego now. But all I tell Gracie is that we don't eat animal meat because they have to hurt animals and kill animals. That's right, we eat veggie meat.
Yeah.
So I think that's the easiest way to tell kids is that
they
have to hurt animals in the process to make those sorts of foods, and it seems that parents are not completely opposed to that. So anyway, have a great day, have a great week, or have a great next period of time, and everyone have a safe and non-animal filled holiday. Take care.
Well, thank you, Carl and Gracie.
And Gracie,
yeah. We eat vegetable meat, veggie meat. Is that what she said?
Yeah, we eat veggie meat.
We eat veggie meat. That was great.
That was great. Yeah, completely unhappy, unhealthy kid back there. Yeah,
for real. I think that's fantastic advice.
Is.
So excellent. And I think it's different if they're your kids too, right?
True.
I mean, because you can. With your kids, it's your responsibility, like Carl has done, to take it on the responsibility to educate his children in his values. And I think what is parenting but educating children with your value system?
Yeah, but I also do like Carl's simple explanation. Like, they have to hurt animals to get the meat, and I don't agree with that, So that's why we don't eat it.
And it's simple, too.
It is.
It's very simple.
And they like animals, and they can understand that, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a period where most kids are growing up, and they I could be wrong, but I think they empathize or understand animals better. And then at a certain age, you learn, or we learn as a culture, to get over that. And I think that's a really, that's an interesting place to be. That's probably when kids start to ask all those questions, for sure. We have one more on this, too, from Heather, right?
Yes.
Hello, Vegan Freaks. My name is Heather. I'm calling you from the rolling green hills of East Tennessee. Not the most vegan-friendly part of the country, I must say, first of all. And I have to say, I am drunk. I'm drinking White Russians tonight, so yay me. I wanted to call in response to first, let me say I'm drinking the White Russians with soy milk, okay? Yeah. So the person that had written in about their niece, who they needed some advice about children, and they were going to be helping raise a niece, and they weren't really sure how to deal with the whole vegan thing. I'm a mother of two. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old daughter, so I thought I might have a little, quote, wisdom here. First of all, when you're dealing with other people's children, the best thing to do is keep your mouth shut. So I think the fact that she really didn't say anything at the dinner table it was probably the best thing to do. Really, when you're dealing with other people's kids, it's best to just say something like, you know what, I don't eat meat because I don't like it. Let's just leave it at that, because especially young children, as they get older, if you're talking about a 15 or 16-year-old, it's a totally different situation. But a young child, just say, I don't eat it because I don't like it, period. Let's leave it at that, okay? My kids are not shy about telling their friends at school why they don't eat meat. They don't care to say, look, I don't eat meat because I don't eat animals because it's cruel, and the fact that you go hunting with your dad every weekend is disgusting, and that's cruel. But that's the way that I've raised them, so that's different, right? But when you're dealing with other people's kids, for example, my daughter has a friend over tonight, and she decided not to come over until after dinner. Okay, because, yeah, she did not come over until after she had already eaten dinner because they were having ribs at her house and we were having veggie tacos at our house. Anyways, if she is helping raise her niece, there will come a time where she can have this discussion with her niece about meat, and she should discuss that with her brother or sister, whoever is the parent of the child, and decide when that time is appropriate, and then they can discuss where meat comes from. I showed my children the video about meat, the meat your meat. That did it for my kids. So, you know, she should discuss it with her brother or sister, whoever is the parent of her niece, and decide from there, you know, at what point in time it's okay to discuss this. But when you're dealing with other people's kids, be vague, be broad, just leave it open, because you're bound to just really piss some parents off. I hope that helped, and thank you so much for your podcast. It's been so helpful. Goodbye.
Well, thank you. I don't know. I'm really troubled by that. By one of the things, I agree that you need to leave it broad and be careful. You don't want to upset and offend people, but I don't really agree with saying to someone, I don't like it. If a kid says to you, why aren't you eating meat? I don't like it. It's kind of true. Mm-hmm. Here we are about truth and lies again. It's kind of true, but it's also, I mean, you may or may not like it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, if a kid is really young, like maybe like 3, they probably wouldn't even notice that you're not eating it anyway. But I don't know. It's really tough. But I guess it's all a matter of also what you're comfortable with. You know?
True. That's true.
So, I mean, that's, you know, a slightly different advice than some of the other people giving. So I think it depends on what your comfort level is talking about. And she mostly said don't talk about it at the dinner table either. Yeah. So perhaps later on, you know, if it comes up again or somebody mentions it, well, you know, I don't eat animals.
And your comfort level also with the parents too, which is something she pointed out. Yeah. But another part of me, though, is kind of troubled in some ways. And I'm not saying I know a solution to this problem, but another part of me is kind of troubled by it. Because if we're avoiding the question in a sense, we're also avoiding what's at the heart of the problem. And we wouldn't avoid the question if there were other things at stake. I think, you know, if there were issues of racism or sexism at stake, I don't know if we would avoid the question in the same way we would if there's an issue of speciesism at stake.
True. Do
you know? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I know what the solution is, because I have no idea.
Right.
I have no clue what I would do in that situation. I'd probably go in the direction where Carl went, actually. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. I have no clue. It's like everything. I can't tell you exactly what's right for your situation, but
exactly. And
I'm just simply raising things for you to think about.
Yeah, I think all of these are great things for people to think about and decide, you know, and that helps people think about it beforehand so that if they are in this situation, they can read the situation and see what might be the most appropriate way to go.
Absolutely. But I think all great pieces of advice, and it was good to hear from all of the people who called and all the different experiences they bring to the table about dealing with this. And it's a tough thing to deal with, no question.
It is.
No question about it.
All right.
So I don't know.
Shall we get to the other voicemails?
Sure.
We got some more other general voicemails that we thought we'd catch up on this week.
Okay. I'm not going to play the voicemail theme.
Okay.
I don't feel like it. We've already listened to voicemails.
Right.
Let's just go right into it.
We'll go right
Bob and Jenna, what's going on? All right. So here's the deal. Definitely drunk dialing you guys right now because I'm lost, and I was trying to find my girlfriend, my friend Lucas's girlfriend's number, because Luke's drunk too. I came outside to smoke, and I started wandering around. I don't know who the fuck I am. But anyway, I was trying to find her number, and I was like, oh shit, I got your guys' number on my phone. Let's call and see what's up. Anyway, here's the deal, guys. I like you guys' show a lot. You guys are really fun to listen to. Sometimes when I'm just like hanging out by myself, I'm like, dude, let's put on Vegan Freak and let's hang out with Bob and Jenna for a little bit because they're badass and they're like my buddies and shit. That's what I feel like sometimes, and it's fun. And you guys you show me a lot of good stuff, and I like it.
All right.
Anyway, you guys take it easy. Talk to you guys later.
Excellent. Thank you.
I have no idea who that was, but it was funny.
He didn't say his name.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
But, well, thank you for the compliment.
We like the drunk dials.
Yeah.
And you can put us in your phone, 267-295-1944. Emmy's getting ready to bark at something else. Probably a snowmobile.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Martha, or Delmar831 on the forums. I was just calling because I wanted to share something that my family did, or is going to be doing for me, hopefully, that I am just stoked about. So I had spoken with my father about going to his house for Thanksgiving and letting him know that I was very uncomfortable being there, considering the food that they were going to be serving, and told him basically that, if we could have a vegan Thanksgiving, I'd definitely go, no problem, but that I might have to reconsider if they're going to have other stuff there. And so he said he talked to my brother and sister about it, and I got word today that he's on for having a vegan Thanksgiving this year. So I'm really looking forward to it, considering the fact that me and my sisters are the ones who cook anyway on that day. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm planning. I told them I would, pick out the menu, and everybody can help me put it together. And so I'm really hoping that it happens, that they don't change their mind last minute or something. But I was just happy at the fact that they were willing to do that, so I thought I would share that with you. Hope everything's going well, and I look forward to your next podcast. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, how did it go?
Yeah, you have to let us know.
You have to call and let us know how it went.
Yeah, because I wanted to play that because I think it's important to remember that, we're always griping about, when things don't go our way and everything, and because it's easy to gripe.
It is easy.
Fun. It's cathartic to gripe. But we have to remember, too, that sometimes people, meet your expectations and then go beyond your expectations. So great things can happen, especially if you give it some time, and you talk to people about it, and you just say, like Marta did, I'm not comfortable about, being around all the dead meat on the table.
Understandably.
So, maybe we can do this year. So, and it happened.
That's
cool.
Cool.
I think that's great.
Well, let us know how it went.
Yeah.
We had a good Thanksgiving. We ate with our friends Hyman and Seal.
Yes. So, a hello to them.
Yeah, because
they listen.
I think Seal listens.
Seal, yeah.
I don't know if Hyman does. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a nice Thanksgiving with our tofurkey.
We had tofurkey and all kinds of stuff. So it was cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Hi, this is Michelle, and I'm calling from Cape Town, South Africa. And I was listening to your podcast this morning, and I want to respond to the caller who phoned in with questions about breastfeeding as a vegan, and mentioned that her in-laws were less than supportive about this. And I just wanted to share with you my story, which is that I've been a breastfeeding vegan mom to 2 kids, and I had my little girl and adopted another little girl when my first daughter was 1.5 years, and breastfed both of them exclusively for well over 6 months, and on demand for quite a while. My eldest daughter I fed for 2.5 years on vegan milk, and we're a vegan family. Myself, my husband are vegan, and my children, now that they eat food, are vegan, and they're healthy and strong. And I had a lot of resistance. A lot of people aren't very supportive of it, and here I don't know many vegans, so people think it's pretty weird, and the usual criticisms are leveled that there's absolutely nothing wrong with vegan milk, and whether or not you're vegan, you're going to pick up slack for breastfeeding anyway, because people aren't that supportive of it, especially kind of people of one's parents' generation, where it was less than popular. So you just do what you're doing and know that it's the right thing that you're doing and the best thing that you can do for your kids, and there is nothing wrong with your milk. And that's, what I wanted to say. I felt quite strongly when I heard that message that I wanted to respond to it and offer her some support, because mothers need it.
Excellent.
Excellent. So thank you for offering the support for that listener. I'm sure it's a rough situation to be in, and it's good to know that there are other people out there doing the same things.
For sure.
So, thank you.
Yeah. We haven't gotten too many calls from South. We had one other caller from South Africa a number of years ago. So
yeah,
it's been
I
a
know
while.
we have listeners there, but yeah, it's good to hear from.
It's nice to hear from people around the world.
The rest of the world, yes.
It really is. It really is. Okay, moving on. I think. Oh, I know what's wrong. Sorry.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Megan. I'm hair persona on the forums. Hey.
Hey.
I just had the most frustrating experience. I went to lunch with a coworker, and veganism came up because the goddamn restaurant put goddamn pesto cheese on my goddamn wrap, even though it didn't say on the goddamn menu there was pesto on the wrap. Anyway.
Sorry.
During this conversation, I managed to get, I swear to you, every single asinine, stupid argument against veganism that exists.
Oh, boy.
I got, but the Native Americans did it. I got the animals are lower than us. I got, well, I'm an adventurous foodie and I'm going to eat whatever I want. Veganism is like a religion. I swear to God, I felt like it reminded me of Bill Hicks did a stand-up thing where he was talking about religious people who believe that God put dinosaur bones in the earth and to test our faith.
Yeah,
and Bill
I
Hicks
heard
said
that.
something like, "Yeah, I think you were put here to test my faith, dude." And that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I went straight home and listened to you guys and felt so much better.
Good.
So thank you for being the impetus for me not to go back to work the next day and strangle my coworker. Anyway, I love your guys' show. Keep up the great work, and I hope you're having a good Thursday. Bye.
Well, thank you. Sometimes when you hear that kind of stuff, there's just one thing you want to do.
Shut up!
In case you can't understand it, shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Shut up!
Yeah, that's sometimes what you want to say?
Yeah. It's amazing how rude some coworkers can be. I mean, it's like I wouldn't even dream of sitting at, lunch with any one of my coworkers and grilling them or, berating them about what they eat.
Yeah.
I no matter what the situation was, it's not right.
That's because you're a decent human being.
Oh, right.
You're a decent human being
Yeah.
who respects other people's space and issues. And,
Right.
You don't have issues, I guess, is the point.
Right.
So, oh man, people are just, sometimes they're so frustrating.
Yeah.
They're so frustrating. It's like, you just want to,
You dumbass.
yeah.
Oh, you must be some kind of crazy person.
You just want to go, yeah. Whoa. Emmy just moved the entire studio pretty much.
All right.
So, yeah, but it's good that you were patient, because even though there are times you want to really go crazy, you try not to. And I think it's better in the long run.
It is. You just take a deep breath and know that they're doing it because you're pointing out that there's something wrong with the way they're eating, and they get defensive. So
That's right. You could pull the Oprah thing.
Thank the hummus for coming to our table.
Yeah, she's not vegan anymore. Is she?
No.
No. Everybody, this is the thing that cracked me up about the whole Oprah thing. Everybody's like, oh, Oprah's going vegan. It's the second coming of Jesus Christ and all this other stuff. Everybody was like going crazy when Oprah went vegan. And you know what? I looked at it and we looked at it. Everybody knew that it was
Temporary.
Come on. Anybody who had a half a brain knew that this was bullshit.
Yeah, because she was calling it a cleanse.
She was calling it a cleanse, and it's just more of her, her guru chakra aligning bullshit. That's all it really is. And it's like anybody who thought that was going to change veganism or change the animal rights movement or be a watershed moment, they had their head planted very, very deeply in their colon. So anyway, sorry for those of you out there that may have felt that way. I'm referring more to public personalities rather than any of our listeners, all of whom I love and give a big hug to.
Hugs.
All right.
So we have one more.
No.
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 Don't we have one from Connie?
Oh my God! I skipped Connie.
I can't skip Connie. We haven't heard from Connie in a while.
I totally skipped Connie.
Connie's a long-time listener.
She is. All right, Connie.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Connie. I just finished listening to your
She's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
episode 102, and I would say it was one of my favorites in the last several. And I just finally upgraded iTunes, because you know how they come up with a new upgrade every few weeks, and then they bug you and bug you and bug
It's
you.
annoying, isn't it?
Upgrade. So I finally upgraded. And I love the new visualizer. And so I was listening to your podcast and watching the visualizer, and that is some shit. I think you, Bob, would be really amused by it, considering you, well, maybe both of you, since you guys are both slightly ADD. But
Slightly?
it's kind of cool because it just pulsates to the voice, and I almost am interested in going on acid for this shit. 'Cause I think that would be so funny to see that stuff on acid, or maybe ecstasy, but I'm straight edge, so none of that for me. But yeah, good show, and keep it coming. Bye.
The new visualizer in iTunes is really cool. However, we at Vegan Freak Radio do not encourage the consumption of illegal substances.
This is correct.
However, the iTunes visualizer is really cool. I agree with you, Connie. It is super.
She knows this very well.
She does. I spent a lot of time when the new visualizer came out. I spent a lot of time listening to stuff and watching it. I did. I really did.
Yeah.
Because it's very good. Have you played with that?
Not much. No.
You haven't?
No.
It's really good.
I'll have to play with it then.
It is full screen. It's
Okay.
excellent.
All right.
Excellent. I've got a 2 monitor thing in my office. It's cool. It's cool. So thank you, Connie. And sorry we forgot about you.
All
Man.
right.
All right.
Now
So
I think that we're done with the voicemails.
all right, we're done with our voicemails. That means that we are going to move on to our interview with Claire.
Claire. We're here today with Claire Askew, who was born in 1990, and she went vegan a few days after her 15th birthday. She currently lives in a suburb of Kansas City, where she has written for the teen section of her local paper. In addition to reading anything she can get her hands on, she enjoys listening to alternative / riot girl / indie music, writing poetry, and baking. She plans on attending a liberal arts school far from Kansas, studying English and gender, and spending the rest of her life writing. And her first book, which we're going to talk about today, is called Generation V, The Complete Guide to Going, Being, and Staying Vegan as a Teenager. So welcome, Claire.
Hi.
Hey, Claire. So tell
How you guys doing?
We're good. We're really good. How are you?
I'm pretty well.
Excellent. Why don't you tell everyone out there about your book?
Well, my book is basically just a complete guide to the ins and outs of being vegan and still living under your parents' roof and going to high school and all of that fun stuff.
So written from your own kind of autobiographical angle, huh? That's kind of a broad topic. What are some of the specifics you deal with underneath the rubric of the very broad topic which you've just proposed?
How to deal with when you want to be vegan but your parents think that it's too drastic or that you're going to become crazy or not be nourished, what to do when your friends ask you stupid questions, what to do if you don't know where to get vegan food or vegan body products and websites to visit and just all kinds of stuff.
Cool. So, for example, you...
If you're going vegan.
Oh, sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Everything you would need to know if you're going vegan.
So, for example, how would you advise one of the many teenage listeners out there who, for example, goes to their parents and say, Mom and Dad, I'm going to be a vegan, and Mom and Dad say, you're going to starve.
I would say just give it time and just show that it's something you really want to do and that you're willing to find out ways to make it work in your life. Because if they say, oh, you're going to starve, you're not going to be healthy, blah, 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 and you just kind of take it and decide that, oh, and then after I leave home, then I'll be vegan, but I can't do it now, then it's going to show that you're not really serious about it. But if you just give it time and just be patient with them and show, like, Mom, Dad, this is something I really want to do, and I know how to do it, I know how to be healthy and still be normal. So that's kind of what happened with me. So
you have to really stick to your principles in a way, right?
Because oftentimes I think your parents might be kind of shocked by it at first, but then after a while they'll get used to it.
Well, maybe talk a little bit about what made you decide to go vegan in the first place.
I was vegetarian for about 4 months or so, and then I just found out all about, the dairy cows and the laying hens and how I wasn't really being true to the beliefs that got me to be vegetarian.
just by being vegetarian, so I decided that I needed to go vegan. But my mom and my dad thought that it would be really drastic and that I didn't really need to do it and that I wouldn't be healthy and all that stuff. But then eventually I just got them to see that I could still be healthy and be happy and be me, just be vegan.
Cool. So when you went vegan, did you know how to cook vegan, or did you know a lot about it? Or
No, the first few weeks were not that good because I pretty much just ate, little box meals that you just add water to or put in the microwave. It wasn't...
Yum.
I didn't know what I was doing.
So not exactly a good way to show your parents that you're not going to be malnourished. Yeah. So how did you change all of that?
We got new cookbooks, and I just showed them new foods that I could eat. And
So how'd you deal with your friends? I mean, surely your friends must have come, you probably went to your friends and said, I'm going to be a vegan, and they probably said, yeah, whatever, loser, or I don't know, what did they say to you?
They were actually pretty cool with it because I had been vegetarian for a few months before, and they had kind of accepted that I was really kind of into that, so they didn't really think that was a big deal.
So they didn't really make a big deal out of it. But did you have other people at school or in your life who did make a big deal out of it?
Not really who made a big deal out of me going vegan, but just people who like, oh, you're vegan, and want to ask stupid questions and things like that. But
like
I think
what?
Every vegan gets that.
Oh,
how do you know that plants don't have feelings?
That's the one I hate the most.
I hate that one.
That's
I
the
actually
one.
really like that one, though, because they think that they're being so smart, but then
I know.
If you're vegan, you have a good answer to it and just shuts them up.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is great. It's like...
Even if they have feelings, still be vegan.
Exactly. If you love plants, you should be vegan anyway because...
You'll be eating less of them.
Exactly. Because when you are, you're eating meat, you're indirectly eating more plants anyhow, right? So... Yeah. That's the one. It's an easy one to kill, but it's also an annoying one in a lot of ways too, because you just get tired of it.
Everybody who says it thinks that, oh, I've got the question, I'm going to stump them.
Oh, I know. Everybody thinks that they always have the stumper, right? They have that one question.
No matter what question it is, they always think that they're the first person to come up with it, and that you're going to find it so clever and so funny, and then that you're just going to say, I never thought of that. I'm going to not be vegan anymore. Let's go get a steak,
Your impeccable logic has destroyed my lifestyle. I've been
vegan for years, but up until this 1 second, I did not realize that plants have feelings.
Oh my God!
How did I not consider this?
When I was in college, I had I had a very strange double major. I was double majored in agricultural science and philosophy. Mm-hmm. And when you're in college, well, you will know when you're in college that everyone goes, well, what's your major? And you have to say what your major is. And I always say agricultural science and philosophy. And they always go, what are you going to do? Philosophize about cows? And I heard that like 4,000 times. And everybody always thought that they were the first person to ever come up with that. Yeah. What's interesting, though, is that...
That's kind of what you do now.
That's kind of what I do. I kind of went on to philosophize about cows. But, cool. In the book, you also deal with this, with the inevitable vivisection question. Like, I went to a pretty shitty public high school, and we never had anything not vivisection. We never had anything to dissect, really. We dissected some fish, and back then I didn't really care about animal rights anyway. But Jenna went to a very, nice kind of suburban school where you...
Yeah, we dissected all kinds of animals,
cats
including a cat, yeah.
Yeah, they did that at my school, too.
Yeah.
Ooh. So what is the advice that you give, what a little sampling of the advice you give in the book to help people get out of this shit?
It really depends a lot on your teacher, for the first thing, because the teacher that I had when I had to dissect, she didn't care at all. When she announced the assignment, I just said, I don't want to do that, and she was completely fine with me doing an alternate assignment. But teachers that my friends had, even if they were vegetarian or something, they had to do it. So it depends a lot on your teacher, but if you have a teacher who's really hard-assed about it and won't let you not do it, the thing to say is that it violates your deeply held moral principles.
There you go.
When you use wording like that, they don't want the school district coming into it, and so then they'll calm down a bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that invokes a certain kind of, not exactly legal argument, right? But it gets on the borders of that.
It gets on that territory. And there are a lot of CD-ROMs and online programs and things like that you can get the same experience with it without actually dissecting it. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, one of the things, let me mention that I liked about your book was that you're always very adamant about people, for one, standing behind their beliefs, as you just said, and about being knowledgeable. Before you take the leap, be knowledgeable and know what to tell people.
That's definitely the way to go about it, because people so often, when they think of vegans, they think that we're just a bunch of nut jobs. But if you come in and you're calm and you're informed and you know what you're saying and what you're doing, then it makes it so much easier.
But you mean vegans aren't a bunch of nut jobs? You clearly do not know the vegans I know. Vegans are a bunch of nut jobs, trust me.
That's true. Not on the way that people think, though.
That's true. That's a good point.
And, okay, so you went vegan right after you turned 15, and now you're senior, right?
Yeah, now I'm 18.
So how have things changed for you in the last couple of years, in terms of maybe things you've noticed, going through school, or things how you deal with your parents, or anything that's changed a lot?
I've noticed that I've calmed down a lot. When I first went vegan, I was so on fire with it and excited about it, and every single person that I ran into, I had to tell them all about why I was vegan and why you should be vegan, and that's not always the best approach, and so I've calmed down a lot now.
So you're less of a vegan evangelical these days, huh?
Yeah.
So in your book, right, you give a lot of advice to people who want to go vegan. And earlier you said the thing they really need to do is to stick to their principles. And to do that, what if what if your parents are really, really resistant? You still just stick to your principles, or how do you deal with that kind of tension that may arise in a family that has a difficult time with it?
I'd say just give it time, because even if your parents are being really tough about it, if you stick with it and you show that it's something you really want to do, they'll calm down.
And how about those people out there that don't have friends that are as cool as yours? Do you think that they should try to get their friends to understand, or should they if their friends won't come around, what should they do?
I think if your friends are really your friends, then they'll come around, and if they don't, then you need to get new friends.
Sometimes you just need to get new friends, huh?
Yeah.
And, another thing I thought was interesting about your book, too, is that you aren't really afraid to kind of make a stand for the kinds of principles that you believe in the book, including the kind of bankruptcy of welfarism as an ideal. Mm-hmm. So what's that all about?
Don't be a welfarist. That's my advice to the teenage vegans. Just don't.
But it's cool. You got PETA too, man, and there's stickers and
Vegan
t-shirts.
Freak has stickers, and Vegan Freak's not welfare.
Good point.
That's true. We have stickers and cookies. Come to the dark side, right?
But there all that stuff, it's cool. Cool.
Yeah, everybody does it. It's so nice. Yeah.
But really, what are it's a complicated idea in a way, right? And for a lot of people, it goes against the grain of what they would think is common sense in some regards. I think the abolitionist approach.
Any sense if you're really vegan?
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that from a vegan perspective, but just having logic perspective, how if you're not vegan,
right,
how you might do all that. But if you're vegan, I don't understand at all how you would be promoting cage-free eggs and happy meat and all that crap.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And that's one of the things I really liked about your book, is that you're really not afraid to kind of get in there, lay your opinions on the line. You actually practice what you preach. You say in the book that people need to really stick to their guns and, say what they believe, and you get in there and you stick to your guns and you say what you believe. And trust me, you're going to find out as the book gets into wider circulation that you're taking an approach that is somewhat unpopular in the animal rights movement.
Yeah, I've noticed that, but if you can't say anything important, don't say anything at all. So
I agree. And you and I and Jenna and a couple of others of us can all be outcast together and hopefully make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Cool. So where do you think about going to college?
Well, I'm done with all my applications for this semester, so I could stop stressing out about that. But the school that I want to go to the most, it's this pretty small liberal arts school that's about 2 hours west of Boston, and it's really hippie, and it's really good for students who have a lot of passions, but they don't just want to settle on one major.
I got in there.
What?
I got in there. When I was applying to school, I got in there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Is it Hampshire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in there.
Why didn't you go there?
Cha-ching.
Oh, yeah.
Dinero, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about them.
Yeah, I got in there. I almost went there, actually. But the money was...
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Yeah,
I
want to go there so badly.
I think you have the profile,
Yeah, you've already written your own book.
I went there and I visited there in April.
Yeah.
And I did the little tour and I sat on the class and that was all really nice. But then the moment that I knew that was the school for me, my mom and I went into the student store and they were selling tings and those little rice stream ice cream sandwiches.
Wow.
Sweet.
And they were selling Bitch magazine, which I read and want to write for someday. And they were playing Rafi over the speaker system.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Pretty cool.
Sounds right up your alley.
Excellent. Well, Claire, thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, and I want everyone to know that Generation V is available at Cosmos Vegan Shop. It's available at Amazon. It's available at Barnes & Noble. It's available at all kinds of retailers. You can order it from your local bookstore if they don't have it.
Tofu Hound Press.
It's available from tofuhoundpress.com, which is where you should buy it because you can get it for 15% off the cover price there. And there you go. So go buy a copy, give it to the young vegan in your life, and soon, Claire, you will have a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get that website going. You can correspond with Claire and all that. So anything else you want to add? Any good advice? Last kind of powerful words to the young vegans out there. We have a lot of teenage listeners who are not quite vegan. How would you get them to go vegan, Claire? This is the last thing you got to tell us.
I think that if you're young and you want to go vegan, the thing you need to realize that it's not as hard as it seems. I mean, if you want it enough that you're thinking about how to fit it into your life, you can find a way to do it. It might take time, and it might take research, and it might take getting your friends or family to get on board with you, but you can figure it out, and then it'll be all fine.
Sage words from an inspiring young vegan who walks the walk and talks the talk and does it all. And I think you're an exemplar because you actually went out there and did it. So good on you.
Thank you.
And thanks for being on.
Thank you once again, Claire, for talking to us about your book.
That's right. We very much appreciate it.
Yes, and kudos once again on writing the book and getting it out there and getting all that great advice to teen vegans.
Absolutely. And you can order it from us at Tofu Hound. As we said, we can order it from us at tofuhoundpress.com.
Yes.
Or Amazon or other places like that. And I think it should be available in the UK as well.
Excellent.
At Amazon or through your local bookshop.
Cool.
Yeah. So what else, woman?
I think that's about it for this week.
That's all?
That's all.
I almost called you white lady. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Vegan Freak Radio again for this week. We're always apologizing for the paucity of shows that we produce. However, I do believe that in 2009 we should be doing shows a little more regularly.
I think so.
Probably fortnightly will be very easy for us.
I think we can manage that because I think things are going to calm down in January. I think
so too.
Yeah.
You've been working like a mad woman,
Yes.
so Jenna's life will calm down significantly. Vegan Freak version 2 should be finished by then.
Yes.
Everything should be sorted out, so we should have more time to do the show. I mean, it's not just like time; it's time where you have to be alert and awake and alive.
Yes.
Because there's plenty of time in my life where I'm like perfectly awake. I'm just not really with it enough to do a show.
Right.
And you gotta kind of get like
It's
in
late
the
at
mood.
night and you're a little tired.
Yeah. And you don't want a tired show from us. You
No,
want a
it's
show
boring.
where we're like packing a punch, man.
Yeah.
We're like jamming it in there and getting it done. And that's what we're doing today. So anyhow, we will be back again at some point in the near future.
Yes.
And
if we don't talk to you before the holidays, happy holidays, everyone.
I hope we can.
Happy holiday season. I think we can squeeze one in before the holidays.
You can squeeze one out before the holidays, can you?
I have no problems with that.
Oh my.
I'm vegan after all.
There you go. So, I don't know. In the interim, good luck with everything. Don't be crazy. Stay cool. I don't know. Be nice to people.
Yes. Enjoy the holiday season, even though it can be frustrating.
Yep. And don't tamper in dark-sided stuff.
Yes.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
We can have filters on internets